Will you save my brother's life for $5? The question came from a 10-year-old girl standing in the entrance of the Shadow Fang Pack's main hall, a crumpled $5 bill clutched in her trembling hand. The entire hall went dead silent. 20 wolves froze mid-conversation. Alpha King Dante Wolf, seated at the head of the long table with his council, set down his glass slowly. His beta, Marcus, half rose from his chair, hand instinctively moving toward the girl as if to shield her from whatever had driven a child to walk into the most dangerous pack house in the territory. This wasn't a place for children. The Shadow Fang Pack was notorious, the strongest pack in the Northern Territories, led by an Alpha King known for his ruthless justice and zero tolerance for weakness. Ex-military wolves, enforcers with violent reputations, warriors who wore their scars like armor. "What's your name?" Dante asked, his voice surprisingly gentle as he stood and walked toward her. His massive frame, 6'6" of pure alpha power, would have terrified most adults. But the little girl didn't flinch. Her blonde hair was tangled, her clothes dirty, and there were dark circles under her gray eyes that spoke of sleepless nights and grown-up fears. "Lily," she whispered. "Lily Harper." "Lily, where are your parents?" "My mom died 2 years ago. My dad—" Her voice cracked. "My dad is at the Crescent Moon Pack. My brother's there too. He's dying." The wolves exchanged dark looks. Crescent Moon Pack. Alpha Vincent's territory. "Your brother's dying," Dante repeated carefully, kneeling to her level. His scarred face, souvenirs from the territory wars, usually made children cry. But Lily met his eyes without wavering. "He's 8 years old. His name is Owen. He got sick 3 weeks ago. The fever that's been going around. But it got worse because—" She stopped, touching her own arm where a faded bruise was visible. "Because Dad won't let the pack healer see him. He says Owen's weak. He says if Owen can't fight off a simple fever, he doesn't deserve to be part of the pack." The temperature in the room dropped 10 degrees. Every wolf in that hall understood what that meant. Omega prejudice, the kind that killed children. "Your brother's an Omega," Dante said quietly. Lily nodded, tears spilling down her cheeks. "He presented last month. Dad was so angry. He said we don't have Omega blood in our family. He said Owen must have gotten it from Mom's side, that it's a disgrace. Now Owen's so sick, and Dad locked him in the basement and won't let anyone help him, and I heard the healer tell Dad that Owen will die without medicine, but Dad said, 'Let him die,' and—" "Easy, sweetheart," Marcus said, moving forward with a glass of water. "Breathe." Lily took a shaky breath and held out her $5 bill with both hands. "This is all I have. I've been saving it for my allowance. I heard that Alpha King Dante helps people, that you're strong and fair, and you don't let bad things happen in your territory. Please, please save my brother. I don't care what happens to me, but Owen's just a little kid, and he didn't do anything wrong, and he's so scared and—" Dante took the $5 gently, studying the worn bill. It had been folded and unfolded so many times it was starting to tear at the creases. He'd seen a lot of terrible things in his life. War, territory disputes, rogues who butchered entire families. But watching a 10-year-old girl offer her last $5 to save her dying brother while her own father, her own Alpha, condemned that brother to death, hit different. "How did you get here, Lily?" Dante asked. "I ran away this morning. It took me 6 hours to walk from Crescent Moon territory to here. I had to cross the river and go through the neutral zone, and I was really scared, but I had to try because Owen doesn't have anyone else." 6 hours. She'd walked 6 hours alone through dangerous territory to reach his pack. Dante's wolf was snarling inside him, demanding blood, demanding justice for this child and her dying brother. "Alpha Vincent knows you're here?" Lily shook her head. "My dad will notice I'm gone soon. He'll be angry, but I don't care anymore. Let him be angry. Owen matters more." Dante looked at his beta. "Marcus, call Dr. Hayes. Get her ready for a medical emergency. Omega child, severe fever, possible neglect-related complications. Then he looked at his head enforcer, a massive wolf named Axel. "Get the SUV. We're going to Crescent Moon." "Alpha," Marcus said carefully. "If we go into Vincent's territory without permission." "Then Vincent can file a complaint with the council," Dante said coldly, "after I save a dying child from his negligent pack member." He turned back to Lily, and his voice softened. "Keep your $5, sweetheart. We don't charge for saving kids." Lily's eyes went wide. But the medicine costs money and travel and... "The Shadowfang Pack has resources," Dante said. "What we don't have is a tolerance for alphas who let their own children die because of outdated prejudices. You did the right thing coming here. Now we're going to bring your brother home." "Home?" Lily whispered. "You can't go back to your father," Marcus said gently. "Not after this. You know that, right?" Lily nodded slowly. "Owen and I talked about it before I left. We knew if I got help, we couldn't stay. Dad would..." She didn't finish. "Then you'll stay here," Dante said. "Both of you, under the protection of the Shadowfang Pack. Your father doesn't get a say in it." "We don't have anywhere else to go," Lily said, her voice small. "You have here," Dante said firmly. "That's enough." 20 minutes later, 3 SUVs rolled out of Shadowfang territory toward Crescent Moon. Dante drove the lead vehicle with Marcus in the passenger seat and Lily in the back, clutching a stuffed wolf that Luna Claire, the Alpha King's mate, had pressed into her hands before they left. "For your brother," Claire had said softly. "So he knows he's safe." The Crescent Moon Pack house came into view as the sun began to set. It was smaller than Shadowfang's, less impressive, but still formidable. Alpha Vincent's territory was known for being traditional, some said backward. Omegas were considered lesser. Weakness was punished. Old ways were gospel. The SUVs pulled up to the main house, and wolves immediately emerged, circling the vehicles defensively. Alpha Vincent himself stepped onto the porch, a man in his 50s with graying hair and cold eyes. Behind him stood Lily's father, Thomas Harper, whose face went white when he saw his daughter in Dante's vehicle. "Alpha King Dante," Vincent said, his voice carefully neutral. "This is unexpected. You're in my territory without permission." Dante stepped out of the SUV, and the Crescent Moon wolves automatically moved back. His alpha aura rolled out like a physical force, undeniable, overwhelming. "I'm here for a child," Dante said flatly. "Owen Harper, 10 years old, Omega, currently locked in a basement, dying of fever, because his father refuses to allow medical treatment." The color drained from Vincent's face. Thomas Harper stepped forward, his expression thunderous. "That's my son. This is pack business. You have no right." "I have every right," Dante said, his voice dropping to a growl that made every wolf present bare their throat in submission. "The council laws are clear. Child neglect supersedes pack authority. Omega discrimination supersedes alpha privilege. Your son is dying, and you're letting it happen. That makes it my business." "He's weak," Thomas snarled. "He presented as Omega, a disgrace to my bloodline. If he can't even survive a fever..." "Then he deserves to die?" Marcus finished, his voice deadly quiet. "That's what you're saying? Your 8-year-old son deserves to die because he presented as Omega?" Vincent held up a hand. "Thomas, perhaps we should..." "Get out of my way," Dante said, and there was no room for argument in his tone. He pushed past both alphas, Marcus and Axel flanking him, and headed for the house. Lily scrambled out of the SUV and ran after them. "The basement!" she called. "Through the kitchen and down the stairs!" The basement was exactly what Dante expected. Dark, damp, cold. A punishment space, not a sick room. And huddled in the corner on a thin mattress was a small boy. Owen Harper looked like a ghost. His skin was pale and slick with sweat. His breathing was labored. His eyes were closed, but his small body shook with violent tremors. "Owen!" Lily dropped to her knees beside him. "Owen, I brought help! The Alpha King is here!" Dr. Hayes, who'd followed them in, immediately knelt beside the boy, her hands glowing with healing magic as she assessed him. "Goddess," she breathed. "He's burning up. Temp must be 105 at least. He's severely dehydrated. This isn't just fever, it's Omega rejection sickness." "What?" Dante's voice was sharp. "It happens sometimes after presentation," Dr. Hayes explained, working frantically. "If an Omega is rejected by their pack, especially by family, their body can start to shut down. It's like their wolf gives up, combined with the fever." She looked up, her face grim. "He's dying, Alpha. Another day, and he'd be gone." "Not on my watch," Dante said. He knelt beside Owen and carefully lifted the boy into his arms. Owen was so light it was terrifying, all bones and fevered skin. "Axel, get us back to Shadowfang. Now!" As Dante carried Owen up the stairs, Thomas Harper blocked his path. "You can't take my son." "Watch me," Dante said coldly. "This is kidnapping. I'll report you to the council." "Good," Marcus said. "While you're at it, they'll be very interested in your child neglect charges, and the Omega discrimination, and the fact that you locked a dying 8-year-old in your basement and told him to either survive or die." Thomas's face went purple with rage, but he didn't move. Because Dante's aura was crushing the air out of the room, and every wolf present knew that if Thomas Harper tried to stop them, he wouldn't survive it. The drive back to Shadowfang was the longest 30 minutes of Dante's life. Owen's breathing grew more labored with each passing mile. Dr. Hayes sat in the back with him, her healing magic working overtime to keep his fever from spiking higher, but even she looked worried. "He's not responding well," she murmured. "The rejection sickness has taken deep root. His wolf has essentially given up. We need to give him a reason to fight." Lily, squeezed beside them, took her brother's small hand. "Owen, please don't leave me. I brought the Alpha King. He's going to help us. We're going to be safe now. Just hold on." Owen's eyes fluttered open for just a moment, pale gray, glazed with fever. Lie. His voice was barely a whisper. "I'm here. I'm right here. Dad said I'm bad." "No," Lily said fiercely, tears streaming down her face. "Dad's wrong. You're not bad. You're perfect. You're my brother and I love you and you're not allowed to die. Do you hear me?" But Owen's eyes had already closed again. When they pulled up to the Shadowfang pack house, Luna Claire was waiting on the steps with half a dozen pack members. The medical wing had been prepared, a full Omega-friendly suite with temperature controls, soft bedding, and every supply Dr. Hayes could possibly need. "Bring him straight to room 3, Claire ordered, her Luna authority cutting through the chaos. "I've had the healers prepare Omega-safe medications. We're ready." Dante carried Owen directly to the medical wing. The boy felt like he weighed nothing, a fragile collection of bones and fevered skin that shouldn't belong to an 8-year-old. Dr. Hayes worked through the night, IV fluids to combat the dehydration, fever reducers specifically formulated for Omegas. Healing magic poured directly into his small body, trying to coax his wolf back from the edge of giving up entirely. Lily refused to leave his side, curled up in a chair beside the bed, holding Owen's hand. Dante stayed too. He told himself it was Alpha responsibility, protecting pack members, even new ones. But the truth was darker. The truth was that watching this small Omega fight for his life after being rejected by his own father made something primal and protective roar to life in Dante's chest. This was what strength was supposed to protect. Not territory. Not pride. This. It took 3 days. 3 days of Owen hovering between life and death. 3 days of Lily whispering stories to her unconscious brother, telling him about all the things they'd do when he woke up. 3 days of the Shadow Fang Pack rotating through the medical wing, leaving small gifts, stuffed animals, coloring books, a toy wolf that Axel claimed he'd found, but everyone knew he'd driven to 3 stores to find. On the 3rd night, Owen's fever finally broke. Dr. Hayes emerged from the medical wing at dawn, exhausted but smiling. "He's going to make it," she told Dante. His wolf responded to the treatment. More importantly, his wolf responded to the pack. He feels safe here. That's what saved him, knowing he was wanted. Dante felt something in his chest loosen. "Can I see him?" "He's asking for his sister, and for you." Owen was awake when Dante entered, propped up on pillows with Lily tucked against his side. He looked impossibly small in the hospital bed, but his eyes were clear for the first time. Alert. Alive. "You're the Alpha King," Owen said, his voice weak but steady. "Lily said you saved me." "Your sister saved you," Dante corrected, moving to sit in the chair beside the bed. "She walked 6 hours through dangerous territory to get help. She's the brave one." Owen looked at his sister with such pure love, it made Dante's chest ache. "I heard Dad," Owen whispered. "Before I got really sick, I heard him tell the healer to let me die. He said I was a mistake, that Omegas are worthless." "Your father is wrong," Dante said firmly. "Omegas aren't worthless. They're the heart of a pack. They're nurturers, healers, peacemakers. Without Omegas, packs fall apart. Your father is stuck in old, poisonous thinking, and I'm sorry you had to suffer because of it." "We can't go back, can we?" Owen asked quietly. "No," Dante said honestly. "You can't. Your father made his choice when he locked you in that basement, but that doesn't mean you don't have a home." "Where?" Lily asked, her voice small. "Here," Claire said from the doorway, moving into the room with her gentle Luna presence. "You stay here, with Shadowfang, with us." "But we're not Pack," Owen said, confused. "And I'm Omega." "Don't you have enough Omegas already?" "We never have enough good hearts," Claire said, sitting on the edge of the bed. "And that's what matters. Lily, you're brave and loyal. Owen, you survived something that would have broken most adults. Those are Pack qualities. Not Alpha, not Omega. Pack qualities. If you want to stay, you're welcome here." "What if Dad comes for us?" Lily asked. "Then I'll handle your father," Dante said, and his voice carried the promise of violence that made even Claire glance at him sharply. Thomas Harper came exactly 1 week later. He arrived with Alpha Vincent and 3 enforcers, demanding the return of his children. They found Dante in his office, doing paperwork, completely unbothered by their arrival. "My children," Thomas said without preamble. "Now." Dante didn't look up from his papers. "No." "You have no legal right to keep them. They're mine." "They're not property," Dante said, finally meeting Thomas's gaze. "They're children. Children you neglected and abused. Children who nearly died under your care, or rather, lack of it." Owen was weak. Owen was an 8-year-old with a fever and rejection sickness because his father told him he was worthless. Dante's voice rose, and the windows rattled with the force of his alpha command. "You locked him in a basement and waited for him to die. I have parental rights." "You forfeited those rights when you tried to kill your son," Marcus said from where he leaned against the wall. "We've already filed with the council. Dr. Hayes documented everything, the neglect, the rejection sickness, the fact that Owen was within 24 hours of death when we found him. You're done." "Vincent!" Thomas turned to his Alpha desperately. "Say something. This is Pack business." But Alpha Vincent was staring at Dante with the careful calculation of someone who knew when he was outmatched. "The council will side with the Alpha King," Vincent said quietly. "You know that, Thomas. Child neglect overrides Pack law. And if Dante's filed charges..." He shook his head. "I can't help you." "You're just going to let him steal my children?" "I'm going to let him save them," Vincent corrected, "because that's what he did. And if I fought him on this, the council would investigate my entire pack, check how we treat our Omegas, examine our laws. I'm not risking pack sanctions because you couldn't accept your son's designation." Thomas's face went purple with rage. "This isn't over! I'll fight this! You'll what? Dante stood, and his full alpha presence filled the room like a physical force. You'll challenge me in front of the council? Please do. I'd love to explain to them how you locked your Omega son in a basement with a 105-degree fever and told your pack healer to let nature take its course. The room went silent. Go home, Thomas, Dante said quietly. Before I forget, I'm trying to be civilized about this. Those are my children. No, Dante said. They were your children. Now they're under my protection. And if you ever try to contact them, come near them, or even think about them too hard, I will personally ensure you face charges for attempted murder. Are we clear? Thomas Harper left, but the look in his eyes promised this wasn't over. Owen's recovery was slow but steady. The Shadowfang pack rallied around both children in a way that surprised even Dante. Axel taught Lily self-defense. Claire worked with Owen on accepting his Omega nature, teaching him that being an Omega wasn't weakness. It was a different kind of strength. The pack Omegas welcomed him into their circle, showing him that he belonged, that he was valued, that his designation was a gift, not a curse. 2 months after Owen walked into their lives, both children were thriving. Lily had gained weight, lost the dark circles under her eyes, and smiled regularly. She'd enrolled in the pack school and was already at the top of her class. Owen had blossomed. His gentle nature, suppressed for so long under his father's cruelty, emerged like a flower in sunlight. He helped in the pack kitchen, learning to cook from the head Omega, Marie. He read to the younger pups during story time. He made everyone around him softer, kinder, better. One evening, Dante found both children in his office. Lily held a piece of paper, carefully folded. Owen stood beside her, nervous but determined. We made you something, Lily said. She handed him the paper. It was a drawing, 2 stick figures labeled Lily and Owen, standing between 2 larger figures labeled Alpha Dante and Luna Claire. Above them, in careful crayon, were the words, Our family. We know we're not really your kids, Owen said quickly, and we know you probably don't want... Stop, Dante said gently. He knelt down to their level. Come here. Both children moved closer hesitantly. I want you to understand something, Dante said. Family isn't just about blood. It's about who shows up when you need them, who protects you, who makes you feel safe and wanted and loved. You two are pack now. That makes you family. Really? Owen's eyes were wide. Really? Claire said from the doorway, smiling. If you want us to be. We want, Lily said fiercely, and Owen nodded. Dante pulled both children into a hug, and something that had been hollow in his chest for years suddenly felt full. 6 months later, Thomas Harper showed up at the Shadowfang border with a lawyer. He was filing for custody, claiming he'd undergone therapy, that he'd seen the error of his ways, that he wanted his children back. The council granted him a hearing. The day of the hearing, the entire Shadowfang pack showed up to the council chambers. They filled the gallery, a silent wall of support. Thomas stood before the Council of Alphas, looking respectable in a suit, his lawyer beside him making arguments about parental rights and rehabilitation and family reunification. Then Lily was called to testify. She was 11 now, taller, stronger, more confident. She walked to the stand without fear. Do you want to return to your father's custody? The head counselor asked. No, Lily said clearly. Sir, my father told my brother he wished he'd die. He locked an 8-year-old in a basement with a fever that nearly killed him. He didn't care. He wanted Owen gone because he's Omega. That's not a father. That's a monster. Lily! Thomas stood, his mask slipping. I'm your father. You owe me respect. I don't owe you anything. Lily's voice rang out. You stopped being my father when you hurt Owen. Alpha Dante is more of a father than you ever were. He saved us. He protects us. He actually cares if we live or die. The council chambers erupted. When order was restored, Owen testified. He was 9 now, still small for his age, but he stood straight and spoke clearly. "I'm not going back," he said simply. "My father hates what I am. Alpha Dante and Luna Claire love me. They make me feel like being Omega is okay. I'm happy now. Please don't make me go back to someone who wants me dead." The council deliberated for less than an hour. Thomas Harper's petition was denied. Permanent custody was granted to Alpha King Dante Wolf and Luna Claire Wolf. Thomas was issued a restraining order. He was forbidden from contacting either child for the rest of their minority. As they left the council chambers, Thomas tried one last time. "You stole my children!" he screamed at Dante. "No," Dante said quietly. "I saved them from you. There's a difference." Years passed. Lily grew into a fierce warrior, eventually becoming one of Shadowfang's elite guards. She was the first to volunteer for dangerous missions, the first to defend the weak, the first to stand between innocence and harm. Owen grew into a skilled healer and Omega advocate. He worked with the council to reform Omega laws across all territories, ensuring no child would ever suffer what he'd suffered. His gentle strength became legendary. Wolves traveled from all over to seek his counsel. And through it all, that $5 bill stayed on Dante's desk, pressed under glass. When new pack members asked about it, Dante would tell them the story. About a 10-year-old girl who walked 6 hours through dangerous territory to save her brother. About an 8-year-old Omega who survived rejection sickness and his own father's cruelty. About how $5 bought something far more valuable than medicine. It bought hope. It bought family. It bought the chance for 2 children to become who they were always meant to be. The story spread through werewolf territories like wildfire. Other packs started questioning their treatment of Omegas. Other alphas started intervening in child abuse cases they'd previously ignored. The Shadowfang pack became known not just for their strength, but for their protection of the vulnerable. And it all started with $5 and a desperate child's courage. One evening, 15 years after that night, Lily and Owen sat with Dante and Claire in the Alpha's private quarters. Lily was 25 now, scarred from battle but happy. Owen was 23, gentle and wise beyond his years. "Do you ever regret it?" Lily asked Dante. "Taking us in, dealing with Dad, all the council hearings?" Dante looked at the 2 people who'd become his children in every way that mattered. "Not for a single second," he said. Owen pulled out a worn $5 bill, the same one Lily had brought all those years ago. "We wanted to give this back," he said. "You never took payment, but we want you to know what it meant to us." "Keep it," Dante said. "Or better yet, pass it on. Find someone who needs help. Someone desperate. Someone who thinks $5 is all they have to offer." "And tell them what?" Lily asked. "That sometimes the smallest gesture of courage can change everything," Claire said softly. "That family isn't about blood. That strength is meant to protect, not destroy. That no child should ever feel worthless because of what they are." Owen carefully folded the $5 bill and put it in his pocket. "I know exactly who to give it to," he said. The end. The $5 bill continues its journey, passed from hand to hand, child to child, each one learning the same lesson. That courage is priceless, family is chosen, and sometimes the most powerful wolves are the ones who save lives instead of taking them. The Shadowfang pack stands as proof that strength and compassion aren't opposites, they're partners. And 2 children who were once thrown away became the heart of one of the most powerful packs in the territories. All because a 10-year-old girl had $5 and the courage to ask for help.